Welcome back, Houston, to the Athletes United Experience on Edge Radio Networks, where truth still matters. I'm your host, Big Mel, and to my immediate left is my very own blood, former Houston Rocket and global competitor turned entrepreneur, Mr. Lorenzo Johnson, whom I refer to affectionately as Big Sonny. Say hello to the fans, Big Sonny.
Hello. We're going to have a great show today.
We're always delighted to deliver our weekly podcast on this network and engage so many fans to tune in. Sonny, as you know, this show has always, since inception, lauded community activism, not just in the body politic, but social services as well, and human interests as well. And we promote that, we stand for that. And social caring, as you know, and your association with NBA and my association with NBA, has always been a part of an athlete's life, has always been something athletes are associated with. So, our first guest has founded an org that is focused on helping seniors to navigate daily living. And I'm eager to hear her explain some of the various services they offer, but at a glance and at a minimum, they have registered impact in many parts of the senior community in the greater Houston area. So let's hear from her. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Athletes United platform, the always colorful and visible founder and CEO of Friendly Faces Senior Care, Ms. Kiani James, ladies and gentlemen. Ms. Kiani James, thanks for joining us this morning, Ms. James.
Thanks.
So nice to join you guys. How y'all doing?
We're doing great. And is it just coincidental or random that you seem to be everywhere at once? I mean, you're at gala gatherings, fundraisers, health expositions, you name it, and you're always so splendidly dressed and looking so marvelous. Is that the prerequisite to work at Friendly Faces?
Yeah, you must like pink to work at Friendly Faces. Definitely.
That's pretty obvious. Well, let us ask you a couple of questions here.
Okay.
Can you start to give us your background and professional training in this area? How did you arrive at this?
Yeah, my professional training is in the sales and entrepreneurial world. I had no idea that I would actually get into senior care. Now, in my sales career, I did work in healthcare, more in the clinical workers' compensation on the sales side. So that's how I got kind of introduced to working with doctors and operators. But really, how I got into senior care, I like to say I kind of fell into it. My mom was a part-time caregiver. She was doing it through an agency, and that's how I got introduced to it as a profession. But once I started doing it, it made a lot of sense for me to be in senior care because I had watched my mom take care of my grandma who lived with us for years. And then at that point, my father had been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and my mom was doing it all over again. So I just kind of fell into an industry that made a lot of sense for me to be in.
Obviously it did. Obviously.
Yeah. So does one need certain credentialing to head a service such as this?
You said credentialing?
Yes, ma'am.
So in Texas, you must be licensed in order to do this as a business. It's not that case in every state. It is in Texas. Texas is heavily regulated and extremely strict. The caregivers themselves do not have to be licensed, although many of them are what's called certified nurse assistants. But for an agency and to make money doing this, you have to be licensed and registered with the state of Texas.
So your business is incorporated and are a Texas Corp, as they will, huh? All right, great.
Yes.
Kiana, your business is also service-oriented, but is it very much so? Is it capital-intensive also? I mean, is this the kind of business that must be infused with cash weekly? I mean, you have a payroll and accounting, I'm sure.
A very high payroll, extremely high payroll.
Yes.
But on the caregiver side, the caregivers pretty much, you bill for the services and the caregivers go. So when you run into needing a lot more capital, it's more so on the administrative side where you're not necessarily going to make sales from those efforts. So when I got started, I had little capital. because I did it on my own, no outside investors.
Sure.
So it actually took me a lot longer to grow because I did it on my own. Whereas if you were to come into this industry and buy like a franchise, they are very, very strict, and they insist that you have a quite large capital.
Huh. How are you able to publicize your art? I mean, there's a lot of competing interests out there. There's a lot of people doing this kind of stuff. Somehow you made a breakthrough.
It's so many competitors in this industry.
Yeah.
On the private side, and that makes it hard because we don't rely on government assistance. So it's not Medicaid. It's people paying out of their pocket. A very niche
Wow.
mark, and a lot of people can't afford it, unfortunately, although it's a great service. So it's very, very highly competitive. Now, with my background being sales and marketing, that's just something that I love and just do natural. That gave me a competitive advantage, I would say,
Yeah.
because I knew from having a career in sales since 2003, you have to stay relevant. You have to stay in front of people constantly. You can't slack on that. So that's something that I have continuously done. When I got into senior care, nobody knew me. And they were like, who is this girl? And I just flew on the scene, and I'm wearing pink, and I'm everywhere. And I'm documenting it online, and so many people would always tell me, oh my gosh, you're everywhere. How can you be everywhere? And I'm like, yeah, I need a clone. But I knew, having the type of business I had and trying to build my own brand from the ground up, because I'm competing with those major franchises. Those major franchises have lots and lots of advertising dollars that, sometimes they're on the radio or the TV, print advertisement. I didn't have the budget to do that. So I had to work a lot harder to get my name and my face and my brand in front of people.
Well, that you do, Ms. James, that you do. Very well.
Well, what motivated you to develop this business?
So what motivated me was, again, seeing my mom do senior care. First, having just an interest in it as a business. I have always, since I was 8 years old, wanted to be an entrepreneur. And I graduated from the Wolf Center for Entrepreneurship at the University of Houston, which is actually the #1 program in the whole country. So I had a really good background in training and entrepreneurial efforts. But when I got out of college, I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. I had a whole bunch of ideas. So when I learned about this as a profession, it made a lot of sense to me because I'm very passionate for the elderly. I helped my mom to take care of my grandmother, who lived to be 91 and was able to stay in the home. So she never had to go into rehab. She never had to go into a nursing home, which is very, very rare. And then with my father being diagnosed with Alzheimer's, and we didn't know at first, he started exhibiting all these different signs, and we didn't know what was going on. But to later learn that he had Alzheimer's, and then we're doing it all over again, caregiving, it was something that was just very, very natural. And then when I got into the industry and was able to concentrate on the private pay side, so I don't really have to worry about all like the Medicare and insurance regulations, I can really focus on the quality. That was something that's very important to me because I'm huge when it comes to customer service.
That was going to be another concern here. How do you manage QA? I mean, how do you determine what's quality threshold?
And that's always going to be a challenge, especially when you grow. You're going to have growing pains when it comes to Q&A. And in the beginning, I'm hands-on everything. And that's something that I've had to learn to start delegating. This year alone, I mean, we're in a year of COVID where so many businesses are going out of business. So many people don't have jobs. And I'm in an industry that's thriving. Our business has doubled in business during COVID because it's that much of a demand for people, because people are going home. They're trying to, in many cases, avoid the hospitals and avoid the nursing homes. So they're going home, but they still need help. So that is in itself going to be challenges, because as you get larger, you can't have your hand on everything. So the delegation for me is what I'm still working on, but what's helping me to be able to control those Q&A, because knowing that I can't be everywhere and know everything, but having and hiring good key people that are going to do things the way I do it, maybe not exact, and that's okay, but hiring good people and allowing them to take ownership of certain things within the company so that we can control that Q&A.
So your selection process for people or contractors and whom are hired to associate with you must be pretty stringent.
Thank you.
So is this business cyclical at all? I mean, does it go up and down? You mentioned the COVID effect, but prior to COVID, is it a cyclical kind of business that has its ebbs, if you will, and flows?
I think it really depends. So there are a lot of business owners in this industry that really struggle. It's a very hard business to run. I know a lot of people, they get a sum of money, however they get it, and there are people that are trying to sell them franchises, and they say, hey, get into senior care, it's a booming market, which it is, and people get in and they leave within a year. Hard business to run and manage. So it can be hard. For me, my personal experience, it took a lot longer than what it should for me to get to the point that I'm at, but that was almost deliberate because I had low capital. I did it on my own. I didn't have outside investors, which means how I call it, I piecemealed my business together. So I wore a lot of hats in the beginning to get my business up.
And I bet they were all pink.
Yeah, it saves money in the beginning, but it really does cost you more because then you can't do as much. So now, like with us, we were already on track as far as growing prior to COVID. And then after COVID, it's just really boomed.
Well, you mentioned wearing a lot of hats, and I'm certain it was necessary, but tell us, were they all pink?
Most of them.
That's great. Go for it, son.
All right. So senior care has become an industry in and of itself. So how does your service add value to the entire genre?
Yeah, this is something I did not know about. I guess I never thought about it because we weren't faced with it. I didn't even know, you could hire somebody to come into your home. I guess I just hadn't thought about it. It's such a needed service. The whole fact that most people want to stay at home. Most people don't want to have to go into a facility or a hospital, and some may have to, and that might be the practical and reasonable thing. But for those who can afford to stay at home, it's a great option. We're with people many times when they get out of rehab or hospital, and we'll stay with them until they pass, and they will pass in the home. And for so many people, that's what their goal is. That's what they want. I want to die in my home. I don't want to die in a hospital. So we're able to give that to people. And then for many seniors, we're able just to give them more independence. So a lot of times I'll tell seniors, because a lot of them are very hesitant to get services or even to ask for help or even to admit that they need help. Sure. So I'll tell a lot of seniors, give up just a little bit of your independence so you can hold on to a lot more. Because if that senior refuses help, doesn't want to go into a facility, doesn't want anyone helping them, they're fine on their own, what will happen is all it takes is one fall, and then now they're at such an advanced state where they're in the hospital and they may never come out, or they have to be put into a nursing home. So when they get that help from a caregiver, we are able to, one, extend the life of a lot of seniors because we're putting in proper care plan, and then giving them more freedom and independence that they need and that they want, and letting them be able to stay in there.
Indeed. It's 13 minutes after the hour. We're talking with Ms. Kiana James of Friendly Faces Senior Care. And we're going to be right back with her. We have some more important questions to ask her after these commercial messages.
A retired Marine and former school teacher is spending his days on the road promoting unity.
His platform is to erase race, and he's trying to do that by traveling the country, visiting 100 cities, spreading his message one conversation at a time.
I was born and raised in Waller County, Texas, just northwest of Houston. As a child of the 60s civil rights era, I lived in a city that was probably 100% black at the time, and that city, Prairie View, Texas, had an educational background that far exceeded the national average. Because of this uncommon occurrence, I grew up lacking the sense of inferiority that many black people experience as a result of segregation and the remnants of the Jim Crow era. In Prairie View, the smartest and most able and capable people the children of that city saw daily were always black. After integration in 1969, I grew up with friends from a variety of ethnic backgrounds, and this continued to expand as I went to college, and my circle of deep relationships continued to grow with football teammates from various parts of Texas and the country, and then expanded even more after I joined the United States Marine Corps, where my relationships began to include foreign cultures and people with whom I never envisioned communicating. Today, after having visited and lived in the continents of Asia, Africa, and Europe, I am convinced that we are all far more alike than we could ever realize. Something has hindered that realization for others. Here in the United States of America, we have been plagued for hundreds of years with a concept called race. This concept would have us believe that we are fundamentally very different and our skin color makes us so. Though anthropology, sociology, and medical journals continually refute this, many Americans continue to harbor the erroneous beliefs associated with race. This is what I'm here to change. Hello, I am Carlin Charleston, the Executive Director of Erase Race. We are a 501c4 nonprofit organization designed to remove race from our society and unite people across all demographics and bring them into the novel reality that we are all quite differently the same. That phrase may sound contradictory in itself, but it really makes sense. Once we understand our common origins from whence we all originate, then it becomes much more interesting to see how differently we have evolved in our geographic regions as one people. Erase Race began the work of unifying our country when I embarked upon a 112-city tour last June. Driving the Unity van from coast to coast and from north to south, the thrill of visiting the 48 contiguous states and meeting people I would have never met otherwise was simply amazing. From Baton Rouge to Boston and from Philadelphia to Phoenix, I became more American every day as I met the people that make up this great country, and that is where I want to take you.
This is city number 76.
Shaking hands, visiting people and places, striving for unity as a human race.
It has really been phenomenal. Number one, to travel the country and go to different places in our country and meet the people is what most Americans need to do.
He said there have been surprising interactions, even poignant moments, stopping along sites of historic importance like the Liberty Bell and Harriet Tubman's home. He'll make his final stop in December, but his work will be far from done. Carlin's life is the American Unity Movement, and he's hopeful one day soon people truly won't be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character.
That's my vision, that we have people, and we can then respect people and live with people.
And we're back. Speaking with Ms. Kiana James, founder and CEO of Friendly Faces Senior Care. And, you know, I'm listening to you here, and it's compelling. You got in this business on a shoestring budget, very competitive in some cases, closed this business with just a passion and instinct to get it done. And suddenly you become a viable enterprise in this city. Did you find that amazing? I mean, was this just the expectation?
It was definitely the expectation, but that's just the type of person I am. I'm a very determined person. Even when it looks like the outlet is not going to be good, I'm like, no, I'm going to find a way. And that drives my husband crazy. He's not the risk taker in the family. It's very, very hard to have a business and to start it on your own and not have outside help is extremely hard. So if anyone's thinking of doing that, you really got to count the cost. It was very, very hard. And when they say blood, sweat, and tears, they mean it. It's extremely hard. But I'm very happy, very fortunate that my business is doing what it's doing, and that it's continuously on track to grow even more. These were my expectations. I came into it with these very high expectations of myself, and it was hard to get here, but you know, it's about determination and grit and work at the end of the day, and not giving up.
All right.
Sounds good. So seniors are typically living on fixed incomes now. So how do you keep your services affordable and yet valuable?
Yeah, so this type of service is not one for seniors on fixed income. And that's the unfortunate thing. The unfortunate thing is this is a service that's so needed for all seniors, but they all can't afford it. So there is a service through Texas or through the government, what's called Medicaid, and that can help seniors limit it, not a lot. It helps them limit it with these type of services. The Medicaid program in Texas is not a good program. They have very low reimbursement, so there's not a lot of agencies that take it, and it's a very, very unfortunate thing for our seniors. So, for example, a senior might need round-the-clock care. They might need someone with them round the clock. Well, to hire an agency like mine, it might cost them $15,000 a month or something. It's expensive. And if they are on a fixed income, there's no way they can afford that. So then their option is, okay, well, maybe I can get provider services through Medicaid. Well, Medicaid may give them 20 or 30 hours a week, and they need that in a day. So then what is their option? Their option is, well, now if I don't have friends or family to I can live with, then I have to go into a nursing home. And that's the sad and unfortunate part of this industry. So again, when I said earlier, what we do is a niche market. This niche market are for those seniors who have a certain amount of resources. They don't have to be wealthy. Most seniors that utilize our services are utilizing like their retirement funds, things that they've saved up to retire on, and they may have a year or two left to live in many cases. And so they will utilize those funds because they've made a choice. I want to stay in my home versus having to go out into a facility. But most seniors, unfortunately, can't always make that decision, don't have those resources. And so that's a lesson also for us as the younger generation, really understanding the cost as you get older. This is one of the highest costs that you have to contend with. And most people do not know that. Most people think, well, I've got Medicare, I've got Social Security, I'm going to be taken care of. And they have no clue. We deal with families all the time, and they have no clue how much this costs until, okay, mom and dad is in the hospital. They need to come home. There's no one to take care of them. What are our options? And then it's this big, oh my goodness, type of reaction that's happening. So our generation, the younger generation, really needs to take this as a lesson and try to prepare for what's coming. And unfortunately, you don't get as much assistance from the government. So it is what it is.
You know, if we all continue to live, to exist, eventually we all become senior citizens at some point, or quite elderly senior citizens. And this is just a stark reality we're contending with, right?
Yeah. Unless they're going to give more resources to the seniors, and that's not my department. But it's very sad. We get calls from seniors all the time that we wish we can help, and we can't, because they don't have the resources. And then the options is for them to have to go into a home. And there's a lot of good, there's homes out there, and you want to do your research. But again, so many seniors, they don't want that as an option, but that's their only option because they just don't have the resources.
So Friendly Faces is something of a concierge service to elderly.
Exactly. That would be an excellent way of putting it.
What's that?
Yeah. Before we run out of time, I got a few more questions. I'm not sure if we get to all of them, but I was doing a little research on you and found out that you're the founder of Doll Foundation. Is that correct?
Yes.
You mind telling us a little bit about that, how you came up with the name?
Yeah, so the Doll Foundation provides resources for caregivers and for seniors. And the reason I thought of that is because of really the demographic of the workers that work with me, my caregivers. They seem to need a lot of assistance. And I thought, it would be great if we can do things like education or helping them with credit or how do I buy a house or just knowledge, temporary assistance. There's a lot that the caregivers need assistance with. And I'm like, somebody needs to help these caregivers. And so that was kind of the reason that kind of brought it to my mind. In addition to that, again, we talk about those seniors where they need help. So there's a lot of seniors that are living by themselves and they can manage, they're independent, but they still need a little help. So, and they can't really afford, a lot of services. And sometimes they may have the money. And because of that generation going through, poverty and depression, the Great Depression, and just so many things, they will hold on to their money because they're afraid they're going to be destitute. So wouldn't it be good if we could at least, we can't assist them fully, but maybe provide some type of resource to them, education, maybe, some food. We've done food drives and we've done drives to deliver things like blankets and things that the seniors might need. Now, as far as the name, the Doll Foundation, I talked about it and referenced earlier about my grandmother, who's really my inspiration for this business. She lived to be 91 years old,
91.
And my mom took care of her. She never went into a nursing home or rehab. And my mom she's an excellent caregiver. Her name was Mama Doll. So we called her Mama Doll. She's a little old feisty lady. And so I wanted to do something to really pay homage to her. And so I called it the Doll Foundation in her memory.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You got the next one?
You built this business model, I guess, through a selection of ICs or contractual employees or associated services. Are there any W-2s associated with your?
Yeah, they're all employees. This type of business, you really want to have employees.
Really?
There are some agencies that will have them as contractors. That's really frowned upon with the IRS. So you have to have a certain level of control over the employees, again, for quality assurance. So you really want them to be employees.
Huh. Is there any recertification, retraining? I guess from time to time you obviously have to reset some of the expectations with these employees.
Oh yeah, constant training is involved. The state of Texas, again, very strict, which is a good thing, and that's a good thing for the seniors. They have to do initial training. They have to be competent to be able to do the duties that are necessary. And then every year they have to take annual training on a list of different topics. The same way that myself and my administrative staff, we have to have a certain number of hours on an annual basis. And then we're required to keep up with what's going on, in the industry, in the market, so that we can provide the best service and take care of these seniors. And we really saw that illustrated this year during COVID, when we've had to adjust and create new policies and procedures and a lot of additional training as it pertains to COVID. Because one, we have to keep the caregivers safe. They're going into homes. They don't know if, families are infected, seniors are infected. Then we have to keep our seniors safe because they have caregivers coming into their homes. So this definitely has been a challenging year. Definitely.
So some of the functions that you attend, some of the social gatherings, does it have something to do with driving awareness and driving your visibility in that community?
Yeah, definitely. A lot of what I do is for the senior community. I'm huge on networking, and that's one of the ways that I really built my brand is through networking. But I'm really big on giving back. I love it, and so I get involved with a lot of philanthropic type of activities as well for a number of different causes, some senior related and others related to, again, a number of different causes.
Well, Miss James, you're kicking the door in, baby. You're kicking the door in. We're proud of you. We're watching you.
appreciate
You're highly visible in all media platforms. And so congratulations once again for building what you know to be something necessary in the community, a kind of valuable service. And it seems like you're having a little fun at it.
Yes, this is an awesome industry.
Yes.
You get to meet a lot of people. As you can tell, I am a social butterfly. So I sometimes I can't believe that this is how I make a living, going out and networking and talking with a bunch of people and getting assist elderly, and they're so precious. It's really enjoyable what I do.
You bet. Will you come back sometime and update us as what else is going on out there? Huh?
Definitely.
Oh, good. That's good. And no doubt you'll be wearing pink.
I probably will.
Thank you once again. This is Miss Kiana James of Friendly Faces Senior Care in Houston area. And we're grateful to have her today. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
we look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And we're out.
Are you a small business owner concerned about the downturn in the economy? Top business leaders like Mattress Mac and Warren Buffett will tell you that now is the time to promote your business more than ever. People need your services. Your business needs an edge. Learn about special advertising packages for small businesses right here on Edge Radio. Find out more, give us a call at 281-744-0446. That's 281-744-0446. Edge, because truth still matters. We work our whole lives to support our families. With one accident or illness, it can all be gone in an instant. Now there's a smart, affordable way to protect your family. Go to findhealthbenefits.com and discover low-cost life insurance for as little as $2 per month. Add to that a tax-deferred annuity that can help you protect your assets and grow your money for retirement. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. A critical illness can strike without warning and wipe out your life savings. In fact, it's the #1 reason for bankruptcy. Find Health Benefits offers an affordable solution. Get up to $50,000 if you get cancer, stroke, or a heart attack, giving you the peace of mind to focus on getting better while the plan helps you to pay your bills and medical expenses. Learn more. Go to findhealthbenefits.com or call 877-235-6094. 66% of seniors spend more time shopping for cable TV than Medicare plans. Most say because it's just too confusing. Laws change every year. The wrong plan could cost you thousands and prevent you from seeing the doctors you want. Introducing FindHealthBenefits.com. Save time, save money, see specialists without referrals. Go to FindHealthBenefits.com or call 877-235-6094 for this informative brochure.
Society is on the edge. Let's bring them back. Edge Radio, because truth still matters.
Welcome, Houston, once again to Athletes United Experience here on Edge Radio Sports Network, where truth still matters. I'm your host, Big Sonny, today, and I'm joined by one of the most intriguing former professional athletes in the sports world, broadcasting world, our very own Dr. KJ. Say hello to the viewers today.
Thank you. Hello, hello.
Well, we have a purposeful program today as we're speaking to some young, outstanding athletes who not only embody the very spirit of how good women's game has become, but sort of define a new space that's emerging with athletes, and it turns towards community leadership, lending their support to things beyond basketball and becoming more vocal on social matters. It's a powerful combo of styles, and it's distinguished them as a new era of activism. That said, the game is still the centerpiece of what they do and how they choose to express their athletic gifts. Next up, we have a young lady joining us today from the Clutch City itself, the big H-Town. All right, H-Town. Give it up for H-Town. She comes with rich basketball credentials. Herself as an outstanding baller, accomplished coach in the Universal Basketball Association of Professional League of ex-college players, and she's gained a lot of acclaim in the area of creating some good buzz. So please help us welcome to the stage another inaugural member of Athletes United, Houston's very own Nakoya Deuce Jackson. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, let's get right into it. First off, please explain to us the origin of the tag name Deuce.
Well, it's actually a funny story. It came from a basketball number, for one. My original number was number 12. But, in high school, when you take pictures, you gotta have your uniform. And I've always been forgetful, so I left my uniform at home. So the extra one was number 22. And, me being the girl, I look so good in the number, I just kept it. So, and then in college, it just stuck. Deuces, 2-2, deuce, because I'm also double on the floor, no cap. So it just kind of stuck after that. So there you go.
I like that. You exude a lot of confidence with that. You said deuce, double. I mean, I like it.
Double trouble.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, first thing came to mind, she was like, "Hey, I got the wrong number. I don't have what I need, but I'm gonna still rock it though." I like that. Well, confidence though.
Yeah. Definitely elevated my game because I had a rule 12, you know, to score at least 12 points. So when you go up to 20, you know, you gotta raise your stats up. So it was also a goal that mentally set for myself too. So
setting the bar high, huh?
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Really
I like it. I'm gonna jump on into the next question here. So where did you compete in high school, and what went into the decision to attend college? A college that you
well, I went to high school at Cypress Springs High School. That's in Cyfair. Shout out to Cypress. And
shout out to Cypress.
Yes, sir. And I am a class of 08, and that class was definitely tough. We have ladies who still in the WNBA, came out of that class in that area. You have the Bloom K sisters, who one is now the WNBA president. You have Sydney Colson, she played at West Side, and she's in Chicago Sky, and you got Green Christmas, who also played at Cyfair and AAU, and you know, she's in Dallas Wings. So, and of course everyone knows Brittany Grinder from Houston. So that whole class in the area was very, very tough. So what made me go to JUCO, however, was my senior year. I just didn't really know, you know, like I said, all the talent. So God gave me an opportunity at JUCO, and thank God for Coach Mesco at Florida Gulf Coast University, class of 12. They're still doing their thing as well. And he saw me at the scrimmage my sophomore year, and he signed me on the dot. So that's how I landed in D1, and the rest is history after that.
Right. So it started at Florida Gulf Coast. Let's make sure we get them props. What's
Florida,
the name of it?
Florida Gulf Coast University, yeah. Right, okay. And they're actually on a 10-year streak right now of winning the conference, so since 2012.
Did you say 10 years?
10 years in a row.
Wow.
Winning conference?
Winning conference.
Ladies and gentlemen, that deserves a round of applause. Wow. So,
yes, sir.
So, obviously, when you were there, did you win?
Yeah, my class was actually the very first class to go to the NCAA tournament. Back then, they were only D1 for about 4 years, and this NCAA rules you got to be a Division I for at least 4 years. So my senior year was their 4th year, and we landed number 12 in the nation. So that was our first year going, and then after that, they just went back to back to back. Yeah.
That's pretty
It's
impressive.
a really great program. Really great program.
Amazing.
Hey, so as your college career was ending, was it WNBA or Europe in the cards at all for you?
Well, my senior year, I suffered a meniscus injury. So again, I didn't know, you know, but God took me down to the coaching realm, which landed me in pro in New York and Boston. So I had my runs in the pro league and overseas and Mexico and stuff like that. Yeah.
Awesome.
Wow.
I'll let you,
Yeah, so I heard you say
all the questions.
you tore your MCL, your meniscus, and I personally relate to that. I want to know, as an athlete, personally, what setbacks did you face? And I know you mentioned God. I know you're very much in your faith, so I want to know, where you were at that point.
God is definitely number one, because any athlete that's having a high year don't want to see an injury, especially a knee injury. That's like, to me, the worst injury you could have. But, you just got to stay focused and have that support system, because, of course, the scouts want to see a healthy body. They don't want to hear injury. So some of them walk away, and some of them stick around depending on the type of player. But definitely the support in God and everything that you push through is what helped.
Amen, yeah.
Yeah, it was led me to an alternate, route. Thank God for all my trainers and 5-star camp, because it gives you second chances in order to be seen overseas and stuff. So.
I think we can all agree that everything happens for a reason, and God planted you right where you were, no matter the setbacks. You had that comeback, and that's all that matters, right?
Yes, most definitely.
I noticed you said 5-star camp.
Yeah.
Is that a camp that you attended, or?
Yeah. So summer of 13 and 12, which is right after I graduated, I was counselor and a trainer at 5-star basketball camp. It was a really good camp. LeBron James been to this camp. Carter Williams. It's really big on the East Coast. Has been to this camp, and that really taught me, to never give up. Because you had certain NBA players who was a rookie at that time, or the second year at that time, counselors in this camp and giving back to kids. So it really taught me that it's really all about the passion. As long as you keep that passion and you keep your head forward, you can accomplish anything.
That's awesome.
Amen.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Doc, you guys have another question?
Yeah. I'm curious, as personally an athlete myself, I'm a pro athlete. Throughout your high school, college, did you feel you lacked any social networking, social interactions? Did you feel like you were more so focused on your passion, basketball, sport?
As an athlete, it's really into one, and that's what led me to really start my nonprofit, is to really teach young athletes that your social media nowadays is really big. Back when I was in college, social media had just came around. We didn't really have every resource that we have now in the media, but social is really nice because you need fans to come to your games. You need people to really support you in college. So it gives you a chance to be social, in between classes. People get to really interact with you, get to be personal with you, and they feel like they know you, So when you do get to that next level, you already have a home base, where your school is at. I think any pro athlete will tell you they love their school. They'll go to an alumni event, hands down. So you can have time to be social, and then also, depending on the program, they set up events for you to meet your fans and meet the students and stuff like that. So.
Wow, yeah. I want to know, how young were you when you first remember picking up a basketball?
Oh, man.
Tell us that story.
Not the age out there, but no. Honestly, I was 5 years old, and basketball wasn't really an interest to me until I was in 8th grade. But I picked it up at 5. To me, it wasn't basketball. It was just time with my dad. You know what I'm saying? He would always have a goal in the back. My grandma had a diner, and he would always shoot hoops in the back when he should be taking the trash out, or something like that. So it was really a keep away game for me, and that's what really got me into it once I got older. To really understand what I was doing at a young age.
So your pops got you into it.
Yeah. My dad.
Shout out to pops.
Right.
That's awesome. So I guess I'll jump to the next question. So now, according to your background, you sometimes function as a player coach. Tell us about that.
Yeah, I've been coaching for 7 years, all levels, high school, college, pro, and to me, it really connects you with the players. Like I stated earlier, this generation is definitely different from when I grew up. Normally, a coach will tell you something and you do it. Nowadays, it's like if the coach doesn't, they feel like if the coach can't beat me, I'm not listening to you. So I just feel like, well, let me get out here and show you that I'm still old and you should be pushing yourself harder. So to me, it teaches effort without me having to speak it.
That's awesome. Well, I guess it's about time for us to, we have 3 more minutes? Okay. All right. You got one more question before we go on the break? We got time for one more.
Anything else you want to tell us? Where you came from, who you are, any advice to any basketball, wannabe basketball?
Well, what led me back home, actually, like I spoke of Uplift National, I started a nonprofit for me to actually give back the knowledge of my experience and to really shed a light on other athletes that's taking other paths like I have to give the youth knowledge, because one thing that you need going after your dreams as an athlete and in the sports industry is the knowledge, of who to connect to, what school is good for you, what route is good for you. So that's what led me back here and helped me start these leagues and women's leagues and men's leagues. So I can really just help my city out and really teach young athletes, to never give up and to always research.
I love that. I love that. So you're taking basically what you've learned throughout these years as a basketball player, and you are helping other people.
Right. Showing them that, everything doesn't have to go one way. Even if it doesn't go that way, you can still push through another way.
I love that.
My next question, can you explain to our viewers what the UBA is and how it fits in the genre of sports?
Well, the WUBA is exactly what I just said. It's another way. You have former WNBA players who are in this league on the other side, and it just really shows that there's still eyes and there's still a chance for you to go out there and show people what you really have. The WNBA is live. It's in California. To me, it's really the D League to the WNBA. Like I stated, you have former WNBA players in there, and the competition is really high. Competition is really good. So I'm excited that Houston has a team there where we're breaking that chain, of a close bondage. So
you're currently playing on that team.
Yes,
correct?
yes, I am. We actually have a game this weekend in Humble.
Okay.
Yeah. That's on Atascocita Road at 6 o'clock. And we're actually number 3 in the league right now.
Wow, I hear you have a chance to make All-Star. Is that correct?
Yeah. Voting last week was for the start of the All-Star, but I am in the I am in the All-Star on the All-Star team. Yes.
Wow, very awesome! Congratulations. That's a huge accomplishment,
Thank you so
especially
much.
as an athlete.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I guess you want to go ahead and close this out.
Thank you so much, guys, for having me here. It's been a great opportunity to speak about this, and I really appreciate it.
Well, we want to thank you for coming on the show today. That's our time. We're going to get ready to close it out. Thank you for joining us today on Edge Radio Network. Edge Radio Network with Athletes United. All right, where truth still matters.
All right, guys, have a wonderful rest of the day. We hope you enjoy this.
All right, thank you.